Jana Karásková se jmenuji.
My name is Jana Karásková. I'll speak in Czech. We heard a lot about Syria, Libya. I wanted to ask you, I don't know whether you've heard about it, there are also views that the Arab Spring, the colored revolutions, the local revolution here and so on, was controlled by the secret services. And I wanted to ask Mrs. Albright, unfortunately she's not here because she knew General Wesley Clark, who was also the head of NATO for some time. I wanted to ask her what she thinks about him accusing the Bush administration in 2007, Mr. Rumsfeld, Mr. Bush, that they actually designed the project for the new American century and planned the disintegration of the Near East. He said that in Pentagon after 11th of September, he became acquainted with a memorandum of the defense secretary saying that they must attack Iraq, although they had no cause yet, and that they ought to focus on Somalia and Sudan. This is interesting information. Czech TV refused to inform about that, and we filed a complaint against the head of Czech TV, Mr. Dvořák. I think this must be discussed. We have to discuss not only China critically, but also the fact that in the United States, telephone calls, mobiles are controlled by the secret services, and that we have a very similar situation in America as we have in China. So why has this not been commented upon?
We have time to respond to the secret police and the internet, but I just want to add that, yes, the internet started as a military project, and there has been much discussion about monitoring and abuses, possibly, by government sources. And I'd like Mr. Scholsky to respond to the question about the speed and the ghost. Would you like to do it?
No, I would answer for the other.
Oh, please, yes, sure.
Oh, go ahead.
Sure. Sorry, what was the question?
Well, the question was about the speed of the revolution in Egypt, and would have been possible without.
So this revolution has been branded the Facebook revolution, and the reason for that is that it sounds like a very popular word that can be used in Western media. Facebook revolution always sounds good, and I believe. I wouldn't go as far as calling it a Facebook revolution, and I wouldn't go as far as saying it wouldn't have happened without Facebook or without Twitter. But I would say is that it definitely speeded up the process very much, considerably. So without it, it would have happened, it just wouldn't have happened as fastly and as effectively. And the reason for that, of course, as I said before, is that the regime didn't really know how to cope with these new forms of media and these new forms of communication. And they were too slow in opposing the gatherings, the protests, and all of that, because they didn't really know how and when they were going to happen. But we cannot forget that the Arab Spring initially started not with Facebook or Twitter. It started with a nobody food vendor in Tunisia who decided to light himself on fire and died in the process. And as a result, in his town, a lot of protests happened, which spread over to Tunisia, which spread over to Egypt, which spread over to Libya, which spread over to Syria, which spread over to the rest of the Arab world. So as much as social media had a considerable impact in it, it is not the only reason why it happened. And as I said, we cannot forget that Mohamed Bouazizi is the one who started it all.
And Mr. Nash.
Yeah. If you may, I will answer the second part of the question, which is like, is this the democracy basically citizens want? I think we should understand that democracy is a long process. Democracy requires education, requires a culture of democracy. And what happens now is we had, at least I'll talk about the Moroccan experience, we had a fair, transparent elections, and they brought the only opposition party that never took over the governments. The left parties were on the governments before, the right parties were before, So this opposition party, which is the Islamist party, is the only one with the legitimacy. In my belief, I think in a real democracy, we should give the chance to Islamic party with the agenda that they have, or at least they have the legitimacy of the people. They play the game of the real democracy for 5 years, and after that we play the election game again and get it over. We should be very careful with is to not lose the privileges of democracy we have today. And this is the role of the civil society, this is the role of the international community, not to go back and lose this freedom that we have, these fair elections that we have, to make sure that next time we have another chance to vote. And this is, I think, how basically democracy should be, and this will take years before we get like a maturity for political parties, maturity for citizens to have a classical democracy that we know of.
If I can only add to that,
yes, sure.
I completely agree with him that you can't just ban Islamist parties from running or being part of the government just because you don't agree with them. As much as I disagree with them and don't really like them, the reason why the revolution started in the first place is to give everyone the opportunity,
that's right.
and not just because things are not really going the way you initially thought they would. You should not ban them. That would be the completely wrong way to pose that problem.
That's right. Thank you so much. The role of the media as related to human rights is an old question. And in fact, many of the discussion we had here were things that were discussed in media studies for the past decades. What is different with the new social media is the scope, the size, and the relative access to the information that has dramatically changed. And we have not reached a conclusion to speak of here, but I hope that you can bring back some new ideas back from this forum. Thank you for your participation, and I'd like to ask you for a round of applause for the wonderful panelists. Thank you very much.